today we're going to be talking to Chiara Mazzucco in just a few moments. And this interview really is about getting to know her, introducing her to the Google Plus community, as well as showcasing her book that she's recently written, and to talk about self-publishing. So it's an interesting topic. It's an interesting subject. Chiara has a website called Chiarasays, and she talks about dating, love, relationships. So it's really interesting and fun, and she's raw and fresh, and she tells you just how it is, you know, the truth without any sugarcoating. So I'm going to have some questions for her, for myself, so we'll make it more interactive than just an interview, right? But I'm mostly excited about the self-publishing. You know, we all have a story to tell, and hopefully she can tell us how to do that.
Hello.
Hey, Chiara. I was just telling everybody about you, so welcome to the interview.
Thank you. I'm so excited.
So this is Chiara Mazzucco. She is in Los Angeles, and I am Shefali Burns, and I'm in Ottawa, Canada. The interview today is about Chiara, just getting to know each other. I met her a few weeks ago, and she is a family member of Joseph Puglisi, his nephew's wife. So it was a pleasure to meet you when we did, and it's like this is going to be a fantastic interview because the stuff that you talk about on your website, Chiarasays, is really relevant. So I'm really excited to talk about that. And I mentioned how we're going to be talking about your book, The 9 Mirages of Love, and self-publishing. So Chiara, can you tell us a little bit more about yourself, you know, beyond the bare bones of what I just said?
Yeah, I moved to Los Angeles from Italy in 1994. So I am an immigrant. I am not an American citizen. I've lived in Los Angeles, lived in San Francisco a little bit, usually spent most of my life working in the service industry. And I met Jason, my husband, got pregnant at the beginning of last year, so my little boy is now 3 months old.
Cute.
And yeah, and I decided, since I needed something to keep me sane, so I decided to start a website. And originally it was a rant blog where I just kind of dished out, you know, my frustrations and everything. And then I started actually getting a following. So I decided to devote some energy into it and actually, you know, take care of it. And about a month or so in, I decided I was going to write a book because I was dishing out the same kind of advice to everyone that was approaching. So I just figured, you know, if I just kind of rolled it into a ball and tossed it in the face, that it would work in my favor. So that's pretty much how, you know, and then after, you know, Luca was born at the end of October, and since then it's kind of just been one big tornado because the book got released at the beginning of December, but I didn't really start doing anything with it marketing-wise until a couple of weeks into January. So it's fresh, you know, out there right now. It's really fun.
Wow, I cannot imagine writing a book when you have a newborn, or even while you're pregnant. I mean, it takes a lot of energy just being pregnant. I don't know how you did that. Yeah. I mean, I was just going to say, we all have a story to tell, right? Like I mean, I have this book in my head I've had for years. Like, I want to write this book. I have these ideas. I think it would be helpful. But when do I find the time? So how were you able to find really the time and the energy to devote to writing a book? I mean, that's a lot. That's a lot of work.
It is a lot of work, and you know, the funny thing is I had a really rough pregnancy. So I was in and out of the hospital. I was bedridden. It was, I mean, that and the delivery was really scary. I had an emergency situation, and it was all really intense. But I've been independent since I'm 25, and I've been literally working every day of my life since I was 17 years old. And you know, my parents never forced me. I'm just an independent individual. And I was banging my head against the wall. I was bored. I was, you know, I wanted to do something and anything. And even if it meant, you know, pretending that my words were worth hearing. So I was just like, it's okay. I can do this. I can do something, you know. And then it started becoming, you know, then it was also, I have to say, like a kind of a path to self-discovery as far as finding out what I wanted to do, because as a young person, I've been living, I mean, not even as a young person, as everyone in America, I've been living paycheck to paycheck my whole life. So I never really had the time to explore. I got halfway through college and I couldn't afford moving forward and transferring to a university. I had great grades, but I just didn't have the money for it. So I never really got to explore things I wanted to do with my life. I know I didn't want to be a bartender or waitress my whole life, so I kind of made my own future.
Wow, good for you. I mean, that's practically like the American dream, right? You get to America, you have a dream, and you make it come true, right? So that's really inspiring. I mean, it's inspiring for me because I have all sorts of dreams, and it just takes a little bit more time and motivation to get going with them.
One at a time. One at a time, and you just, and that was where that's where I kind of approached the whole situation. Was I really like I really like writing. I really like telling people how I feel. I got into trouble all the time when I was younger. I still, and even when I was still working, because right now I'm, stay at home, but when I was still working, I was getting in trouble with my managers all the time. I mean, I'm really outspoken, and, I like making a fool of myself as well. So this, this journey has been able to kind of compact everything into one. So, and now I'm on to, I want to conquer the world. So
conquer the world. Perfect. So can you tell me a little bit of some of the questions that people have posed to you on Chiarasays?
Oh my God, I get my inbox is just flooded. Period. I mean, I get so many messages, and it ranges. It's from both men and women. I surprisingly have a very big male audience as well. Where initially I kind of assumed it would just be women, coming to my website. Everything about a cheating boyfriend, or I really like this girl, but, like, I don't know if she likes me too, what should I do? And, and then the crazy ones, like, I caught my girlfriend with my brother sleeping in my dad's bed. I mean, I get, like, the craziest emails.
Wow.
Which is really fun, to not only respond to, but kind of incorporate in my weekly articles as well, just kind of combining everything. It's a lot of fun. So.
Well, I did go to your website, and I did check out some of the articles, so I was looking at, there was one about, I can't even talk about it.
It's okay, you can. Some of them are a little inappropriate, I know.
Well, not inappropriate per se, but I mean, they're out there, people don't talk about that kind of stuff, right? So I'll just say the word masturbation, right? People, they do it, and but people don't talk about it. So I was surprised when I saw it on your website, like, wow.
Did you notice that it's the #1 most popular post on my website? I have a little side that says popular post. It's my #1. I wrote that in the summer. It's one of the most read articles on my website. I mean, thousands of.
I mean, I read it because I was doing research, right? So that's my excuse. I was doing research.
Right, and so is everyone else's. I mean,
Yeah, sure. Why not? Okay, so let's talk more about your book. Your book is called the 9 Mirages of Love, right? And how did you decide to, why did you decide to write this book? What was your content, subject matter for writing this book? Is it your own life story or some challenges that you had and you thought you would share them with everyone?
Well, really, it's a combination of my own experiences and the experiences of some of my readers and some of my friends, some of things that I've seen trend in, the blog or magazines. It's kind of a combination. The common theme, and the reason why I refer to them as mirages, is the common theme is wishful thinking. And in the book, I present 9 common scenarios where wishful thinking screws us. And it becomes delusional thinking, and then it drives us down this terrible path of lies and, and just complete denial about the way things really are. So it was really a combination, and like I said earlier, it was in a mean way. I just kind of wanted to roll it all up and toss it at my readers, because so many, questions and comments that I would get from them would be related to these ridiculous delusions. Like, for example, I think chapter 5 is Words Like Knives. It's about verbal abuse. And in it I present, maybe, I think, I don't know, like 6 or 7 common things, like when your partner is verbally abusive or makes fun of you or is mean to you in public, or, you know, things that we kind of, don't think about in the relationships. But if a friend of yours would be in that scenario, you would have, 1,000 things to say to her, like, what, are you crazy? You know, he called you a this and a that in public, you know. So I just decided, you know what, I'm going to make it short. It's only 186 pages. I'm going to make it short. I'm going to make it, affordable. I'm going to just make it available, so that I'm able. And then, and I continue to respond to all reader emails as well. So it's not like, okay, here you go.
Oh, good. So it's more of a, not just a one-stop shop kind of thing. Like it's the book, but then there's the interaction beyond the book.
Absolutely. And even when people email me, and I give my initial advice, I always, end it with, let me know if you need anything more. No, I'm always here, or let's start here and let's move forward, So it's because I think, to be able to just shoot someone a book or an email and be like, hope that figures out, your whole relationship problem. Like, it's not really,
Oh, that's perfect. That's great.
Yeah.
Now, self-publishing, how did you get into self-publishing? Because I'm really interested in that, in the self-publishing, for sure.
I'm, living in Los Angeles, I've witnessed a lot of artists, it started with underground musicians. I used to work at Universal Music, and I came to know a lot of amazing, talented artists who were just banging their head against the wall, like waiting to be discovered. And within the past few years, with the advancement of like social media and all these social networks, I've kind of witnessed this amazing do-it-yourself revolution where people kind of take things into their own hands and like decide, this is what I want to do, and I'm not going to wait to get discovered. I kind of, the funny thing is that when I pitched my book to a couple of friends that, I have pretty famous friends. I have like friends that are well established in, the movie industry. And I said, what do you think about this book? And they said, it'll get published, like, for sure. It's such a great idea. It's amazing. Like, you have such a great voice. And I literally said, I don't want to risk it because I want my words on paper, and I'm really arrogant, and I don't want someone to tell me that they're not worth being printed because, someone from the Jersey Shore is printing their book on how to be famous. Like, I don't want to be, put, like, at the bottom of the stairs and being like, oh, yeah, meh, it's okay, and especially after, writing a book is a lot of hard work. So, you want to see, I mean, when my first proof arrived at the house, I literally just jumped with joy. Like, I was so ecstatic. And I held in my hand 9 months worth of work. So
yeah, that's a lot. That is such an achievement alone, for sure. Yeah.
I designed the cover, I did everything. So it was really exciting. So my dad actually does documentaries. He has a website, an Italian website, where he writes articles on current events, and he started making these DVDs and selling them, himself. And he's doing really well. And it's kind of like, as a role model, I'm seeing, like, you want something to happen, you got to make it happen. Now, there's definitely drawbacks to self-publishing, and we'll definitely get into those as well. But the actual decision to, step into the world was really exciting. And I mean, it took a lot of work as far as researching how to go about it. I have some books I'm just going to, toss out if anyone's interested. It took a lot of work. It definitely did. But it's amazing.
It must be such an amazing feeling to have accomplished something like that, and, bearing your soul, too, as well, because it's who you are, right? And you're putting yourself out there. And, I think a lot of one of my reasons for actually not writing a book and getting it published is like the fear of rejection. They're not going to like it. They're going to say it's no good. Who are you to say this and who are you to say that, right? So with self-publishing, your only critic is yourself. Right?
Which is a tough one. Anyway. But yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So if you can get past that part of it, the rest should be more straightforward, I hope. Less emotional anyways, for sure.
Well, this specific book, I mean, I'm definitely not done. I'm going to be doing, we'll get into that as well. But this specific book, I have a section where I talk about a very personal traumatic experience I had when I was younger. So that was a really big, shake kind of when I held the book in my hand and said, okay, it's in print. Like, there's no going back now. Everyone's going to know this really scary thing that happened to you when you were little. But there's a sense of peace that comes over you. And that's why I think that jumping into the self-publishing route is so important, because if your goal isn't, because my goal isn't to be famous. I mean, hey, I'd love it. I really would. But it did start from it comes from a genuine place, If someone is sitting there going, I have a story to tell, like you, I have this book I want to write, the joy you feel from getting it in your hand overrides anything, oh, I might have made millions with this if I had, submitted it to a, legit publisher. That overrides it because you're literally holding it. There's no going back. It's an amazing feeling.
Yeah, I can just imagine. And you know what? You might just be pushing me into that direction. This may be the push I need to do that. So I am definitely going to contact you for more information about publishing, self-publishing. And, even now, I mean, like, we're on Google+, right? And hopefully you will get more followers as you continue to write your weekly articles and so on. This is a huge community. And I'm sure a lot of people will be contacting you for questions and saying, oh, my God, what do I do? And perhaps you can do, these types of little one-on-one, 1 with 10 people talking about a certain issue, a topic.
That's a great idea. I think that's a great idea. I'm really excited to utilize Google+. I mean, right now I'm just learning from you because I'm completely, cross-eyed when it comes to it. I mean, you think 25 years old and I have all these social networks in, the back of my hand. But I look at Google Plus and I go cross-eyed. So I'm really excited to kind of play around, and I'm seeing like +1s and shares, and I'm just like, oh, this is so much fun.
It is a lot of fun. And if you hang out with me and some of my friends, you will meet tons of people, and they're all so helpful, and so whenever you need anything here on Google+, I just ask, and before I don't even look anymore. It's like I'm lazy that way. It's like I just ask, in the Hangout, how do I do this? And somebody will tell me exactly how to do it. If you have a thought, somebody will tell you, what to do, how to do it, and it's so easy. So I find this community to be really helpful and resourceful in that way. I mean, I have a lot of friends, and obviously a lot of people have circled me so far, but I mean, a lot of cool interactions with people, right? So I think you'll really enjoy it. And like I said, the people here are very, very open, and they will, I'm sure, embrace you wholeheartedly. And especially if you have something to say, they're very, people like people who speak and interact and engage, right? So the more outspoken you are, it's cool. It's really cool, It's lots of fun.
I hope to fit in somewhere.
Oh, you most definitely will. Yeah, for sure. So thank you so much for today.
Thank you for having me.
And we will talk again soon, maybe more about self-publishing. Once I have more questions about it, maybe we'll do another interview about it, so to give people step-by-step instructions and directions.
Absolutely, and I'll bring forth some resources and, what I've learned in my experiences, the pros and cons. And
yeah, absolutely. That'd be fantastic.
Okay.
All right, thank you.
Thank you for having me.
All right, we'll talk soon.
All right, bye-bye.
Bye.